Hey friends, Allison here, dropping in to share with you a new page in my October daily album. This page is a interactive page. It will be outside the page protector. It features a 6x8 printed photo. I printed the photo at home on my printer, and I'm just trimming off some of the excess right now. I'm also using some paper from Photoplay, Tulla, and Norbert. I'm using the paper to cover the flap on this interactive page. This sheet of paper measures 3 by 8 inches, so the flap itself is actually 3 by 8 as well. I went digging through my stash and found this frame from Pink Fresh Studio. It says collect moments on the one side of it, and I thought it was a good frame for the cover of my flip out. I'm going to embellish it with some florals from Jenn. I believe these flowers are from the Avenue. I'm not 100% sure though. I've had them sitting on my desk for quite a while and have been trying to find ways to use it and incorporate it into my projects recently because I'd really like to get it used up. And this is the first time it has actually worked out, so I'm pretty excited about that. I thought the flower in the cluster on the front coordinated really well with the plaid paper from Photoplay. That's why I chose this floral cluster. I also cut one of the blue flowers off of a little stem that it was originally on and tucked that behind. Now I'm working on the inside of the flap. The inside of the flap is going to have my journaling. I printed that with my printer as well. I typed it on the computer. And then I decided to add some ink blending. I was trying to figure out what to do on the top and the bottom of this little insert. I decided to use Peacock Feathers Distress ink and ink blend it. I was going to stamp it first, and then I was going to use texture paste, and then I figured maybe I would just use pattern paper. In the end, ink blending won out. I did add just a little bit more stamping with a stamp set that I have in my stash for a little bit of variation and interest. So the stars, it's a star that I'm stamping, is an open image, not closed, and it just adds a little more variation to the ink blended stars on either side of the insert. I also decided that I wanted to add some either like phrase stickers or some sort of a sentiment to the insert, and then in the end also to my 6x8 picture. And I came across these phrases that I have in a stamp set from Close to My Heart. Oh, the name of the stamp set escapes me at the moment. It's Say It Something or along those lines, and it's just a bunch of different phrases, perfect for any holiday. And so I pulled them out. I pulled 3 different stamps. There's Celebrate, there is Thanksgiving, and there is also Grateful. I'm going to add Grateful to the part of the insert with my journaling. I'm working on that right now. I did ink the edges of my stamped phrase. Oh, by the way, I didn't mention, I stamped the phrases and then I trimmed them down to make my own DIY phrase stickers, essentially. So I inked the edges of all 3 of those phrases with black ink. But when it came to the word grateful, I felt like it blended into the background a little bit too much, even with the inked edges. So I took a scrap of black cardstock, adhered it to the cardstock, and then trimmed it down so it has a black border all the way around it, and that feels a whole lot better. So I'm adhering that to the top of the journaling, just making sure it looks okay and meets my seal of approval. I'm going to adhere it to the inside of the flap, and then I'm going to adhere the 2 phrases over top of my picture. So the 2 phrases that are going on the picture is Celebrate and Thanksgiving. I didn't adhere them to black cardstock. I just inked the edges of those 2 phrases and then glued them directly to the photo. I also added my number, so this is day 4 that I'm working on. I'm using still the stickers from Pretty Little Studio. I'm trying to get them used up. And I thought the black would really work in this case because I have black on the front of the insert, on the journaling side of the insert, and then I just thought it made sense to add a little bit more black to the picture as well. I'm nearing the end of my process today. I'm just going to adhere this entire page to the back side of the page that goes before it in my album. And once that's done, I end up finding some acrylic shapes from Close to My Heart that I had in my stash, and I thought they would work really well to embellish my page today. I was a little bit confused there. I was trying to figure out which direction I should adhere everything together. I didn't want the page that I was working on to be adhered upside down and then have to tear it all apart. So that's what that was. So here are the acrylic shapes. I have this tiny itty bitty little heart that I'm going to adhere below the word grateful. It came from inside this larger heart. I didn't want to use that bigger heart. I liked the really tiny one. So I'm going to adhere that, like I said, just below the word grateful. I'm going to use a heart that's slightly larger on the facing portion of the insert. It's going to go above the flower cluster. I'm going to adhere that right now. I'm just using my Tombow Mono liquid glue to adhere those to the page. And the black star that I adhered to my photo, if I haven't done that already, I think I did. It was already adhesive backed, so I just stuck it to the photo and I call that done. I do have close-ups coming up, so feel free to stick around for that. And I hope you enjoyed my video today. Also, I just need to mention, I'm so glad that you all are here, especially if you're a new subscriber, even if you're a returning subscriber. I love that you're here and you're joining me on this little journey that I'm on. I'll be back again soon with more creative inspiration. Bye, friends.